Hi, everyone. Welcome to Coasters and Community, the podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Johnston, and we're talking how to build a brand in the theme park community. Each week, we hear from influencers, planners, vloggers, bloggers, journalists, each as they share their own experience about building their brand within this community. Today, we're talking to special guest Mary. You may know her as Theme Park Vision, where she is delivering Dollywood news, reviews, vlogs, and live streams across a variety of social media channels. So let's get going. So Mary, thanks for coming on. I know Mary from Instagram. She is Theme Park Vision on Instagram, and she basically breaks all the Dollywood news. Sometimes before Dollywood actually breaks their own news. So she's, as odd as that sounds, as a Dollywood insider myself, she is my Dollywood insider. Mary, tell us what else you're on. I know you're on YouTube too, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. My TikTok is just random. Not on there as much, but I'm trying to get used to it, I guess. But it's a lot of mostly Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook as well.
I gotcha. So Mary is Theme Park Vision. That is her brand on across her channels. And so what I want to do today is I want to kind of explore how we got from Mary to Theme Park Vision, and then kind of what it's like to kind of live and manage that Theme Park Vision brand. And then I want to kind of talk about where you see Theme Park Vision going in the future. So let's talk real quick. How did you become interested in theme parks?
Well, theme parks in general, I was born in Orlando. So I grew up at Disney, Disney girl, 100%. Went to Disney my entire life. Living in Florida, of course, there's so many theme parks, tourist attractions. So we had like Universal and we had Busch Gardens. So my family really brought me up in theme parks and going there constantly. Fast forward to like, adult me when I'm in Tennessee now. My husband and I were just looking online about five so years ago.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Do you want to go to Dollywood?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I've never been, or if I did go, I was really little and I don't remember it.
Yeah.
And we went to look stuff up online, like kind of how we researched Disney to see like food ideas, like the best place to eat, the best tips, tricks, things like that.
And let me guess, it wasn't there.
Nothing. Not a thing. Nothing. There was zip. And I was so frustrated. I'm like, why? And so me and my husband were like, there has got to be other people who are trying to research this and they're frustrated too. So we kind of just decided, okay, well, we want to do that. We want to kind of help other people who are researching and wanting to experience Dollywood. We want to be able to give them this information and help them have a better trip. And we live so close to the park. It was something that we would be able to do.
Gotcha.
And something is like a hobby that we also can share and do together. So yeah, that's kind of where it all came about.
What was kind of the first channel? Was it Instagram, or what was the first platform? I'm sorry.
YouTube was the first platform.
Okay.
YouTube was the first one. I believe Instagram, and then Twitter, and then Facebook was like one of the last things we decided to do because I had deleted I didn't have a Facebook, and you have to have a Facebook page to create one.
Yep.
So we held off on that for a while. But more recent, I think that was the more recent one. And TikTok's kind of just there.
Gotcha.
Like,
I think we all have that. I think we all have that one platform that's just kind of there, right? It's hard to really excel at all of them to me. So really then, so if we're looking for that pivot point of how the kind of the birth of the brand Theme Park Vision, it really was Dollywood, right? It was that that Dollywood experience, that your experience trying to visit Dollywood. Okay, so where did the actual name Theme Park Vision, where did that come from?
we were just playing with names at that point.
Okay.
We were really trying to think of like a Dollywood name, but the issue with that was we were afraid we would get in trouble for like some kind of copyright infringement.
Yep.
So we were like, well, what else could we do that wouldn't get in trouble?
Yeah.
And we literally were just, there's no originality with this name. We literally were just
Understood.
sitting there for a good couple hours,
So,
just throwing names at the wall
yeah.
until
So
finally Theme Park Vision.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, or the takeaway here, is it was completely copyright laws that brought us Theme Park Vision. Is that correct?
Yes,
Is
exactly.
that
Because
pretty
I was
much
like,
it?
well, I don't want Dolly to get mad at us. So we
Sure.
took where I got so frustrated with the process. I went on Google and I Googled usernames and just took whatever like ideas that those had.
Yeah.
And that was where one of them popped up with something vision. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, vision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was
And then
before Chat GPT, when you could have just asked it what your name should be.
man, where was that when I was in college?
Sure, I know. Where was that, by the way? Yeah, I know. So the goal at the time really was it was simply to educate on Dollywood and help.
Yeah, and
right?
that's still the thing.
Okay, so at the time, so you didn't really have to worry about content saturation like you would. Let's say you were building a brand, building something Disney related, right? Where there's just all kinds of Disney content. So you really didn't have that worry. Did you have any concerns at all, or was there anything you guys were worried about when you started Theme Park Vision, as far as can we make this work? Was there anything like that, or did you just jump right in and say, hey, here we go?
We jumped right in and just kind of said, okay, let's go ahead and do this and see if there is anybody out there. That was a little bit of the fear, was how many people are actually out there who are looking for this? Like, how many people are actually looking for Dollywood? Not to say Dollywood wasn't anything, but pre-pandemic, Dollywood was not where it is today. It wasn't.
You're absolutely right.
And so it was a little, that was kind of in the back of our minds, like, okay, how many people are actually going to see this? Yeah. But we kind of got onto the thought process of, if we could just help like one person, then we're fine. I'm fine with that. Like, because that was the whole thing. It was just for fun.
You're right. A lot of times if you find a market with a lot of breathing room, there's actually a good reason there is a lot of breathing room, because nobody cares anything about it. So I understand that completely.
So that was a little bit of a fear, but yeah, it wasn't like a deciding factor for us.
So what about let's move on to your actual content. So just you, Mary, what kind of content do you like? What kind of Dollywood content do you like to publish?
I honestly, the live streams are a lot of fun for me, because it's a great way to get to connect with people and talk to people. And it's like you're basically hanging out with like 50 people at the park, and just getting to show that off. I think just our informational ones are really cool, just because it's more behind the scenes. It's a lot more of me and my husband working together on those. Like, he does write the scripts and stuff, but we kind of bounce ideas off of each other. I've recently started vlogs. That is not my comfort zone.
Yeah. So that's a totally different deal, isn't it? Totally different.
It is. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So that's the content you like to publish. So how much does that influence what you actually publish, or how much? And I ask you that because how do you kind of, I know trends, views, that kind of thing, definitely, for anybody creating content, that influences what you publish as well. So how much does how do you kind of balance what you like to publish versus what is popular or what you get a lot of views on? How do you or do you really worry so much about that?
We really don't worry about trends. We don't really pay attention a lot to trends. We should. But we should, but it's more so like recently we have been a lot more focused on the news aspect of it. And like when they drop news or when news is about to come, those have been big things that we've been focused on lately because there has been so much back to back to back.
Well, because let me ask you this. When we see Mary or we see Theme Park Vision on a live stream and on really any content that you produce, how much of real life Mary are we seeing? Or are we, is that, I mean, is pretty much what we see. Is that you? Is that, I guess what I'm asking, is there just is that all of your personality? Or are you kind of, I mean, are you, is this real life Mary that we're seeing? Is that correct? If that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
So yes and no. Yes and no. The bubbly part of me is really true. I really am a very bubbly, hyper, just very overly, I guess, happy person. I'm just very bubbly. That's just my personality. But I am also extremely shy. So like when we have people come up to the parks, and I love it. I love meeting everybody. But I think people get a little thrown off because when I first meet them, I'm like, hi. Like,
no,
I am a little bit shy. So for the most part, it's my personality. No, I think I like that.
I get that. I will, this is anything that I've done, content produce or anything like that was, that's actually not necessarily the real me, because I'll revert to shy in a minute. Right. That's more of my comfort zone. Right.
Yes. So, and I get that. Yes. And I always tell like other creators that I'm like, if I don't approach you, please don't get offended. I am just actually really shy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I get a little intimidated. So
let me ask you this. Where do you get your content ideas? Where do they come from? When you try to kind of pick a theme for a live stream, how do you land on that?
For the live streams, it's really random, honestly. For this recent live stream, we weren't sure we were going to be able to film the bubble show, but we kept having so many people ask. So finally we just were like, okay, well, we'll try it and we'll see what happens. And if we get in trouble, well, then we just won't do it again.
Sure.
So it's a lot of people who ask for certain things. Like if they ask to see something, it's a lot of things we've seen people have liked in the past. But Dollywood is only so big. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, you're not. As someone who looked for real, who over the off season tried to I literally would lay on the floor and try to think of real ideas for Dollywood. So
we actually, a month before the season ended, we literally sat there and just started listing out random video ideas.
Yeah.
To count, and we counted just to make sure, okay, we have 6 that will get us through the off season, we're good.
Yeah.
And it was even like little videos. We were like, okay, as long as it's 2 minutes, we will be fine. Just get something posted.
Just something, literally just something. I know.
Yes, and that's where the home stream started too, was the off season. It was so we had other content to share out there.
I gotcha. So do you, at this point, let me ask you this. Do you have, and I guess for us here, I guess I'm talking about Instagram, but I mean, we could be talking about YouTube and any of the channels too, but do you pretty much know who your audience is at this point? Do you have a pretty good read on that?
I think so. I think we have a pretty good, we have really good engagement with our audience. So I think we have a good idea of who our audience is. We are getting new people, a lot of new people from different types of maybe not so much theme park focused.
Yeah.
Or we're getting a lot more Disney people in as well.
That's interesting.
So that it's been throwing me off a little bit too. I'm like, so we've been getting a few more Disney people coming in and stuff. But for the most part, I think we pretty well have established
I understand
audience.
So that said, you've got a lot of avenues for publishing content. You've got YouTube, you've got Instagram, you've got even on Instagram, you've got posts and stories. Obviously, you have Facebook now. Some of this is pretty obvious, but how do you absolutely decide kind of what's best for what platform? as far as how you publish your content. So like you publish a new video on YouTube. Do you always story about just that video? I'm just trying to get an idea of how you decide what goes where, for lack of a better way to put that.
Eric actually does a lot of that. So if you look at like mainly Instagram and Instagram stories, I'm actually not doing that. That is all Eric. Eric does a lot of that stuff. Same thing with Twitter. Twitter is his thing. Like Twitter is him. He is 100% on like the Twitter and stuff. Most of the time, the way we kind of split it up is because we do have a lot of platforms now that we're trying to keep on track, and both of us have full-time jobs as well. So that's a lot. So I will sometimes like do a lot of the replying to comments and messages in Instagram and stuff, and then he takes care of a lot of the posts, but any comments that are made. And I think a lot of it, the stories, I have to give a lot of credit to my friend Magical Maddie B, because we asked her a lot of what her advice would be for Instagram in general, and she really helped us out with that one. So it was a lot of collaborating with others as well, just bouncing ideas. Like originally, I was never going to show my face. We were never going to show what we looked like. I was never going to put myself on camera. So that was something when we started doing the live streams, and then I flipped the camera around one time. There was a conversation about that because we were like, well, we said we were never going to do this, and then we did it. But as that happened, it opened us up to more content, more ability to have more content. We were able to be more personable with people. It feels like people want more of that personable experience with you, with creators. Because they don't want just like a fakeness, I guess. And so
what it feels like is like that you're not using a big part of the platform when you're not doing that, is what it feels like. Right? That's the whole thing.
Exactly. So we just kind of decided, okay, we're gonna start doing that and taking it that way. I think another issue is making sure that we do keep it Dollywood focused. Because me as also a Disney lover and him as a Disney lover, there is some conversations where I'm like, oh, we could do this. And he's like, no, we're just, this channel is just Dollywood. So kind of those things where we're trying to keep it focused just on Dollywood.
Oh, and it'll go off the rails quick, especially if you just need content. So along those lines, do you have methods, tricks toward keeping your content fresh and engaging?
A lot of the things that we normally do is we know we have our Best of the Fest for all the festivals. I recently started doing, which I just posted, where I just vlog what I'm filming for the Best of the Fest, but it kind of gives everybody like a behind the scenes look at it, I guess.
That's a great idea. Great idea, by the way.
So I was like, okay, well, that's a different way, so they can see kind of my process of what we're deciding is going to make the best, and it gives it a little bit more of a personal, because we did notice people do want to more see us on camera. We got better feedback from that, so we've been focusing a little bit more on that. But it's something that, when we put out that recent survey where we asked people, because we were fully aware the next couple months we are pulling back. We had to pull back. We did get to where we felt like we weren't posting enough, or people wanted more content from us, and so we started posting more content. Unfortunately, I felt that. He felt that. We both were just tired. We both, this is not a job to us. This is fun.
And I think everybody feels that from time to time. I know. And I know for me, like it's just one of those things where you just see other people who post so much, and you just feel like, how in the world can I keep up with this? And instead of kind of saying you can't, you say, well, I guess I'll try. Right.
And for us, we tried, and we were like, I think we got ourselves into the wrong mindset. So some people really do want to do this as a job, and I think that's great. I truly do. I and my husband both, we love our full-time jobs. Like it's our careers, it's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So this was always just a side kind of just fun
Just
thing
a,
for us
a
to
fun
do.
to have kind of thing.
So when we started seeing people posting more and more and more, we were like, okay, well now we have to post more. We were looking up where people are like, well, to keep growing your channel, to keep growing your brand, you have
Mm-hmm.
to make sure you're posting, so many times a week.
Yeah.
And so we were really, really like, okay, well, we can post 3 times a week. No, we could not post 3 times a week.
Yeah.
It takes me about 4 to 5 hours to edit these videos.
Mm-hmm.
So I edit the videos. Eric writes a lot of the scripts and stuff, but the main YouTube part is 100% like I do all of that. It's about 4 to 5 hours of editing
I got you.
very easily. It's exhausting. I
Well,
love it,
yeah.
but when you have a 40 to 60-hour job on top of that,
Yeah.
it took its toll. So we had a really big conversation. Truthfully, we almost ended the channel a couple weeks ago.
Really? Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
I
I'm
was
so glad.
very
You know
in
what? I'm glad you
I
didn't
was
do
very
that because
injured.
I needed somebody to remind me about Heart Zone booking this morning. So I'm so glad you didn't.
We
And
get
this is
that
all.
all the time. We're
And this is.
like from the insiders too.
Hey,
They're like, "How do you have this?"
hey,
I'm like, and I think that was more so, when we started posting that, I did get injured. I did have issues. I still have issues. I'm still healing and in physical therapy with my spine and like the muscles in my shoulder. And I think when all of that happened, I
yeah.
just got so burnt out on just life. I was
Yeah.
like, I couldn't keep up with the channel. And then I felt bad for not being able to keep up with the channel. And so we had a very long conversation about, can we keep this going?
Yeah.
And is it worth the stress? And obviously the answer was yes, but we're going to edit it and we're going to cut back. We're going to do what we originally said we were going to do, which was posting once a week. If big news drops, we're going to post again,
Yeah.
and then just try to do the live streams every other week, not do the home live streams. That was fun. But for me personally, I was getting
Yeah.
very stressed out.
Oh.
It's easy to get lost in the numbers. It's
Oh goodness.
easy to get lost in, oh, well, we haven't got, we got this many subscribers last week,
Hmm.
but now we only have this many. We got lost in
What
that.
What are we doing
We
wrong here?
did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we did. And that was why we started creating more videos and stuff. And then it hit me as I was, we both talked about it. I'm like, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
That should not have been our focus. We need to worry about the supporters we do have. And those are the ones that matter. The
Hmm.
numbers will come later on. And if they don't, that's okay. But I think it's so easy to remember not to get lost in that,
Yeah.
not
No,
to get focused on those numbers.
I agree. I say that. I mean, I have to continually tell myself that all the time,
Yep.
and then I'll produce I'll produce a new reel, and then of course I'll
Hmm.
immediately say, where are the views? Where are the views? Why are the, why are the
Yes.
views not there? Where are they? That doesn't
Yes.
matter, Aaron. But where are the views? So it's just kind of this
No.
back and forth kind of thing. You know what I
It's
mean?
so easy to get. It's easy though. And it's
Well,
easy to get, once you get in that, you can get so lost in it.
yes, you
And we
can.
really had to remind ourselves why we started this, what's important to us with this channel. And we were like, it's not numbers, it's
Yep.
the people. So,
Well, yeah, you're correct. And for me, like that you're the people, that's kind of that's your center as
mhm.
far as kind of how what the driver is for you guys. For me, it has to be, okay, do I like what I'm producing?
Yeah.
And if that's got
Hmm.
to be it. So
Hmm.
that's kind of how I have to look at it.
Yes. No, no, that's true. And also thinking there's those people, who was it? It was a live streamer from Disneyland that we watch. And she had made the comment that when she started live streaming, she had like 10 people, 11
Yeah.
people for a long time. And she said, you have got to treat those 10 people like there's thousands.
Yeah.
Like you have to treat them like you would anybody else. And that was something that we've also been focused on. And I think that's where the views stopped mattering as much to us, because we were more focused on the people who were communicating back to us, the people who were going back and forth, who were having those conversations. And we've met so many great people because of that.
So kind of wrapping up maybe the kind of the content part. When you produce something, okay, whether it's let's just say in this case it's YouTube, what's the priority for y'all? Is it truly the information? Is it the visual component you put a lot of emphasis on? What, as far as like, just the way the video looks, sounds, moves, what is the priority when you're producing content for y'all?
Make the information 100%. Like that is the biggest thing for us, is making sure people it's understood, the information makes sense, because that is the biggest thing, is we want people to understand it. Now, a lot of the technicalities, like the visual effects of it, all of that's something really important too, that I focus on. And I regularly try to improve that in our videos and find different things.
But it's got to serve. But it's got to serve the information, and how you deliver
it's got to have that information.
Do you spend a lot of time trying to distill down what you're trying to say?
Oh yeah. It takes me 4 to 5 hours, because it takes me at least an hour to record.
Yeah.
At least, because I'm like, oh, I talked too fast, or I didn't say those words correctly.
Yeah.
Especially with some of these specific, like we even noticed it in one of my videos. I think I said one of the food items wrong. And I was so mad at myself, because I'm like, but the reason for that is I want to make sure we are giving this information out correctly.
Yeah.
That things are being pronounced correctly. That's our biggest thing, is we don't want to make up information. We want people to be able to get concise, legitimate information from us, from what we report.
So that leads me to this. Have you gotten better at what you guys do? Do you feel like there's been a huge improvement from day one?
Yeah, go back and look at our first. I didn't delete. I know a lot of YouTubers will delete their original videos.
Yeah.
We haven't. All of our original videos are there. So the sound. The sound. It's so cringy. I was actually listening to it, because we started when the parks reopened. Was when we started.
Yeah.
It's so cringy.
We talked about views and not focusing on views. Having said all that, have you found any kind of correlation between, okay, I post this kind of content at this time with these tags, and I can expect to get, roughly this many views or this much engagement? Have you found anything like that would kind of lend itself toward, kind of a strategy around when and how you tag your content, that kind of thing?
When I post my shorts on YouTube, yes. I have a very, very specific time. I have a very specific set of hashtags for shorts, because I have noticed, like, if I post a short anywhere between 6 and 8 o'clock, we get a lot more views than we do if we post earlier in the day.
Really?
Very specific hashtags on those. I have not figured it out for YouTube yet. That's actually was going to be my goal tonight. After we wrap up this,
you're going to solve it tonight. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think I'm going to solve it, but a lot of it too is I use surveys to help me. So like that was one of the things tonight I was going to do. I was going to create a survey and ask people, when are you more likely to watch vlogs? And then Monday, Tuesday, do that. Because it's very random. Typically, if you post like late at night, we've had the worst luck with that, but sometimes we can't help it. Because either I'll just have a really busy week and I'm like, I have to post this, but I don't get it done until like 8, 9 o'clock at night. But at that point, I'm like, I'm just posting it so it gets out there.
Okay.
I've really got to try to stop that. But
so what is just in general terms, what's your most popular content?
Our most popular content is definitely informational. Or informational business. Anytime we do like a latest news video, those are really big. Anything with new news, we get that's probably our most popular. I think we're definitely more known for news or breaking news. Because we've actually had a few people stop us in the park because of that too.
Are you happy with that, or would you rather Would you rather be doing more of kind of evergreen type content?
I think sometimes, yes. I will say I like our news videos. I like editing them, but now that I've started to do more like vlog kind of styles, I'm
Hmm.
starting to like it. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, those don't,
Right.
those
No.
don't get the views.
Yep. Yep. So for y'all, and we've kind of hinted around this a bit, but what is the rewarding part of all this?
I think the rewarding part is when people really do tell us that it's helping
Yeah.
and that they love not so much it's not so much I'm like, "Oh, people love my content." Like
Uh,
that's not it for me. I mean, it's nice, but what I really love is when I have people come up to to us, and this is a new thing. Like this just happened this year. We had quite a few people have been coming up to us in the park and said, your videos have helped me with this. Your videos let me
yeah.
know how to do these things. Opening day, everybody was like, because we accidentally broke the website without meaning to when
Uh-huh.
that Dolly event was announced. They were
Yep.
like, thank you for telling us because nobody knew.
Yeah.
I think that's the rewarding part is knowing that we started this channel to help people and we are helping people. And I think that's why the marketing and all of that stuff, we're not as focused on that right now because we're still helping people.
Yeah. I
So
understand.
that's the reward for me.
So what's next for you guys? Is there any kind of long-term vision, or you just kind of you just
For theme
are
park
we
vision.
living in the moment? Yeah, 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 yeah.
No, we do plan. We're planners. We look ahead to the future. So of course, we even though we don't do all that marketing stuff, we are constantly trying to look at, well, maybe we can try this, and we'll
Yeah.
we'll take it one step at a time. Eventually, we did say if the channel ever reached, I think I said like 10,000 subscribers. So that's an extremely long goal.
Hmm.
But if it ever does hit that 10,000 mark, we would start another channel focusing on other things,
Yeah.
um, other theme parks, other travel things, and just maybe more personal like vlogs and stuff.
Well, so last question. Can
Mhm.
if you had to provide if you had to give some advice for someone else kind of looking to do the same thing you guys did, what kind of advice would you have for somebody trying to do the same thing?
I think my biggest
Beyond,
thing is not.
don't come into the Dollywood market because we've got, just kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
we got
Beyond
Dollywood. No,
that,
I'm just
yeah, we
kidding.
got Dollywood. So is that the advice?
we,
Is
I
that the
don't want.
advice, Mary? Stay out
Yeah,
of Dollywood.
we don't
Okay.
need a Disney situation. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
please. We've met a lot of really cool, like other people, like B&D Adventures. We've met a lot of other Dollywood vloggers who are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the biggest advice, and I think it's just because we've recently really had to have a moment to reflect on why we started this to begin with, is do not let the numbers take control. Stay focused on what you want to do with your brand. If you're focused on just mainly numbers, it should be about what you love to do.
Listeners, we want you to be part of this conversation too. If you have any questions about brand building in the theme park community, send them to me, and I'll try to include them in upcoming interviews. As always, you can contact me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at nextstopaaron. Also, check out our blog at nextstopaaron.com. Hope you enjoyed our conversation with Mary of Theme Park Vision. I thought she had some great points about focusing on people, helping people, and that is what will grow your brand, not focusing on numbers and getting sidetracked by all these ancillary things. Instead, just staying true to the market that you've chosen to serve. So stay tuned. We've got a lot of great guests coming up in future episodes. These are people I really enjoy their content, and I think you'll learn a lot hearing them talk about how they build their brand and how that can help you along to do the same.